Well, a new Trump judicial nominee is facing backlash from some media outlets. Both CNN and MSNBC are going after Stephen Menashe. Many conservatives, though, say it's a smear attack on a well-qualified judge.
The author of this slightly blood-curdling, very serious law review article is named Stephen Menashe, M-E-N-A-S-H-I, I think how you say it. The reason you need to know it is because Donald Trump just nominated him to be a federal appeals court judge. You might wonder how the Trump administration finds the academic drum major for ethno-nationalism to become a federal appeals court nominee, one level below the U.S. Supreme Court. I tend to think that in academia and politics, these people on this fringe of racial thinking, they tend to find each other like magnets and iron filings do.
It was Rachel Maddow on the editorial board of the Wall Street Journal is defending Menashe against this attack and others. Quote, Rachel Maddow opened the assault this month with a MSNBC monologue suggesting Mr. Menashe is a white nationalist. Her evidence? A 2010 article Mr. Menashe wrote for University of Pennsylvania International Law Journal that defended Israel as a liberal democracy and Jewish state.
For more now, we're joined by Carrie Severino. She's the chief counsel at the Judicial Crisis Network. Carrie, thank you so much for being with us.
Great to be here.
Carrie, you have a piece out on the Menashe nomination in the National Review, another Trump judicial nominee, another smear. Describe some of the attacks that he's faced by some in the media.
Yeah, it started out with Rachel Maddow attacking him for an article he wrote about the state of Israel, really trying to address concerns that if Israel wanted to be a homeland for Jews, that somehow that's incompatible with being a liberal democracy. So we talked about the importance of having a consistent culture, and that wasn't a racial argument. It was really about Jews across the spectrum, whether it's Ethiopian or Slavic, like his wife is, or from the Middle East, like his family is, coming together as part of that community. She basically called him a white nationalist for this, which is really extreme and really borders on anti-Semitic. And then subsequently, CNN had several attacks on things he wrote while an editor in Dartmouth for the conservative campus paper there, really, again, taking them out of context and blowing up what, in fact, were very thoughtful pieces addressing some of the hot-button issues on campus, and including political correctness and things like that they're trying to, again, really just smear him based on these old writings, and it's not fair, and it's really a concern that this is the type of personal attacks that are going on these nominees.
And this isn't the first time a judicial nominee put forward by President Trump has faced these kind of attacks.
No, I mean, we've seen it, now it seems to be like a repeating process here. We saw it with Amy Coney Barrett, for example. That was the anti-Catholic attacks. We've seen attacks in the Knights of Columbus. So now we're getting into more of these anti-Semitic attacks. This is really unfortunate, of course, not to mention Justice Brett Kavanaugh, who endured a horrible smear campaign last year.
This brutal divide that we saw with Justice Brett Kavanaugh, do you think this could be the case again in this situation?
Well, you know, I think in this case, it's going to be very, I don't think any Republicans are going to want to join in this kind of scurrilous attacks on a nominee. I think it's not hopefully going to go as far as the personal allegations in that case. But I think it is a real concern for people who want to make sure that our best and brightest men and women are going to want to step up for these positions of judicial authority.
Carrie, with word that Ruth Bader Ginsburg just had her latest treatment in another round of cancer, there's speculation that President Trump might be able to have another judicial Supreme Court nominee before 2020 or before the 2020 election. Of course, we remember what happened when President Obama nominated Merrick Garland and how Mitch McConnell blocked that nomination until after the 2016 election. He's now saying that he would fill the seat ahead of 2020 if that were to happen, if it did come up. Some are saying that he's being hypocritical here. Your thoughts?
Well, obviously, first of all, praying for Justice Ginsburg, wishing her well. She's a very resilient woman. But if any seat, and there's other seats that could came up, I think the president and the White House are always ready. It's important to remember at this point we have a White House and Senate controlled by the Republicans. That's the voice of the American people, giving a much different message than they did back in 2014 when they were kind of putting the brakes on the Obama administration, saying, actually, we're going to give the Senate to a different party. I think that's why Leader McConnell is saying, you know what, this is a situation when historically you do see nominations move forward in an election year. And I think that's what you would see again in this case.
All right, Carrie Severino with the Judicial Crisis Network. We have to leave it there, but thank you.
Have a great day.
Thanks, Carrie.